Welcome back to Seasonal Spiels. Again, I'm Quincy Lell.
I'm Audrey Williams.
And shockingly, we're talking about One Piece today.
Yep, again.
Part 2, baby. Okay, so now we can gush about as much as we want. Again, spoilers up to like chapter 950-ish, I think it was. Basically, if you're not caught up through Udon on Wano, you might want to steer clear on some things. We're warning you now. Mm-hmm. I will touch on one thing that's in Egghead. It's a little minor thing, but I will warn against. You can skip it if need be. Yeah. But okay, what we're going to be talking about? We're basically it's just a gushing episode, guys. Why we love it, our favorite things of One Piece. We're here to gush. Yeah. Want to start us off?
I think like one of the main reasons that I love it, or one of the like things that got me like, not that I wasn't invested at the start, but like that got me really like, okay, yeah, I want to see this through at least for more than where I'm at now, is like Nami and Arlong Park. Yes. Was like the moment for me that I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm on. Not that I wasn't on board before. Like I did like Luffy as a character and how like different he is, because he had like starting the show out, he's very different to a lot of like anime protagonists that I've seen previously.
He literally hits Kobe.
Yeah. I mean, like, he's very, not rude, but very, like, blunt in certain areas, and that's very different from a lot of, not that every anime protagonist is, like, a meek little, like, nerd type of character.
Not calling one out.
Not to call one, but you know what I mean. He's, like, very, I don't know, like, you could say that, you could go as far as to be, like, he's not likable, he's not nice, I guess.
He's very much selfish, but it works because who isn't selfish? Right. It's relatable. Yeah. Like, maybe I am, okay. If I'm in school, if I'm in college, I would hope I'm academically smarter than Luffy, but that's not the point of Luffy. Yeah. Like, if he was that smart, you couldn't step a foot into this world normally. You would have an exposition dump. Yeah. But One Piece doesn't hold your hand. That works. Yeah. It doesn't need to.
It very much doesn't, like, it doesn't start off being like, okay, this is the world, this is like how everything works. It's like those things are introduced naturally, and it's also, even when those things are introduced, it's not like explained like in that type of way. Yeah. It's just like occurs in the story naturally, and you're like, oh, okay, this is another like aspect of the world that I didn't like have knowledge of before.
Like, to speak on that, I fell in love during Baratie, actually.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Zoro's fight against Mihawk, really great, but what actually I liked was not only like showing how it's worth dying for your dream. Like, we heard Luffy say that, but like I didn't see that in many of the other characters. With like Zoro, obviously clearly meant it. Yeah. But even so, like the introduction of like this new power and this new system, like a whole new faction of pirates that work for the government.
Yeah, that's
just
true,
interesting. Mm-hmm. And that's the first time you get it. And at funny enough, you really don't understand until like you're on the way to Arlong Park. That's when it's explained, and you're like, oh, that's who he was. Yeah. That's why he was just had free time to kill. Right. Like, what is this man doing? Just going around in a coffin. Like, okay. But it's just really cool. And like, not to say I didn't love Arlong Park. I think that's when I really fell in love with Luffy as a character.
Yeah. I think like also Arlong Park is not to like
no, go for it.
It is my favorite, so I will like
that's your favorite arc. Own it.
But I think like it only is solidified as like a favorite for another, like when you get to Fishman Island, it's like, oh,
I love,
you get so
that's
much
such
out of
good storytelling, because you hate Arlong and you hate the fishmen, you really do, for Nami, and then you see Sabaody and you're like, man, I am a terrible person. You just hate it. Like, you're like, oh, I don't want to think I'm human anymore. That's kind of not great.
I was a little bit
and then
fish racist for a second.
No, for real. And it's like, it's organic, because people hate things they don't understand, and then later they see it kind of flipped over, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't just hate things. I'm not that I hate it. It was still, as much as I love One Piece, it's still fictional. But like,
no,
you didn't think favorably of Fishman. And actually, when Jinbei's name is dropped, you're like, oh, Jinbei, let Arlong run wild. Yeah. And now Jinbei's fantastic. You love Jinbei. Right. He's honorable. He's great. He is the uncle.
Yeah. Like, it's very much like like, you'd hate what you don't understand. It's like, in that arc, fishmen are presented as the bad guys because they are the bad. Like, even when you understand, like, how Arlong gets to where he is, he's still bad. Yeah. But, like, when you get to Fishman Island, it's like, oh, okay, these, like, there is a reason behind, and you, like, in the back of your mind, there's always a reason that, like people like Arlong will get to the point that they're getting to, but, like, you're not thinking about that when you're watching it at first. And then you get to Fishman Island, and you're like, oh, yeah, that is true. Yeah. You didn't just, like, start out hating everyone and, like, treating people like terribly.
What?
It's
mean
justifiable.
You mean he didn't just start out hating life like crazy?
Yeah, his like reasoning for acting the way he does is justifiably, not his actual actions.
His actions, they are not justifiable. But it's like, it's kind of like Doflamingo. Like,
right.
Is he justifiable? His actions?
No. Absolutely not.
But he like manipulates you into thinking it is. Like, he's like, I suffered. I was almost burned to death. My father dragged us down here to suffer like scum, like you humans. And it's like, okay,
it's like you have a brother that
maybe
is not the way that you are. And
maybe you didn't need to shoot him to death though because of your anger. But it's also like, even then, even though you're like, oh, he's a celestial dragon, it's expected. It's like, not really, because his dad was a celestial dragon and he was like the most humane of them all.
Yeah, it's also like, even with Doflamingo, like his selfishness and like wanting to keep the like power and status that he had with his parents as celestial dragons, it's like, it is like bad, but you can see how he gets to that point because he's like literally raised that way and then they're taken out of it, and it's like, well, maybe him being like mad that he doesn't have that status anymore is a bad thing, but you can understand at least like why he's thinking the way that he does.
I will say it is kind of negligent of his dad to be like letting this attitude continue. Like, you would think if the parents are that nice, why did they basically choose to do that? Like it's funny because Rocinante clearly had the same beliefs as the parents, so why did they just like ignore Dofi's actions? Because just putting that out there, you would think they'd be knowledgeable of what their child is doing.
Yeah, but I think it's like two sides of the same coin type situation. It totally where like Corazon represents like what his parents were trying to get across to them, and like
nurture
Doflamingo
versus
like,
nature.
Right. Doflamingo is like. Yeah, because what you're saying with like questioning the parents, like why were they up that high for that long? It's like, okay, that's like
no, I'm just saying, like, I mean, like when he's down and he doesn't have the status anymore, and Dofi's just running around being like, you bow to me, and it's like, dude, maybe tell Dofi not to do that. Don't just like blurt that stuff out. Yeah, you can't make them do that anymore. Anyway,
it's like in his it's like you get in his mind, it's like, oh, we don't have this status anymore. What's going on? Yeah. Versus like Rocinante being like, okay. Like, he gets the message that the parents are trying to get.
For sure. And obviously, like, what the townspeople did to Dofi, Rocinante, and Homing, don't do that.
It was bad, but like, you get it.
Yeah, you get it because they are basically the victims of the anger and everything, but it's like, that doesn't justify those actions, but it also doesn't justify Dofi then going on to become basically king of the underworld and all the horrific things he does in the story. But I digress. I really can't talk too much because I am kind of a fan of Dofi. That's not like a justifiable, but like, man has my attention when he's on screen. I will put that out there.
That's fair.
Like anyway. But you said your favorite Arlong arc.
Yeah.
What else favorites?
I think like favorite character, Nami.
Fair enough.
There are like so many. It's so hard to pick like one favorite too. But
I just picked the one that's first in my mind.
That's fair. Yeah, Nami was the one that came up for me because it's like she was the one that really like exemplified like, okay, this is how good, or not that the storytelling hasn't gotten better since Arlong Park or anything, but she was like the main thing when I started out being like, oh, this is like how good it can get, and it's only gonna get better from here. For sure. The fact that I love her just in general.
Oda's storytelling just only improves. Like, even if you think it's a little weird at first, guys, you're looking at like what a 19-year-old's writing. Like he's not maybe like he came up with One Piece at like 17 or something. I think he started publishing in his like late 20s or so, because he's like in his 50s, I think.
Oh, okay.
By now, it's been 25 years, guys. Yeah. So it's been a minute. But like, he clearly improves each time. Like his drawing obviously improves. His storytelling, man, the storytelling is so good. But yeah, I think so. I love, I fell in love at Baratier, guys. I think I know it's kind of cliche because everyone loves this, but I can't deny it. I love Water 7 and Enies Lobby. Like, that is my... Because, like, you have 3 different stories peeking. You have all these symbols peeking. You have the burning the flag against the world government. You have... so gay king. You do. You have Robin saying, I want to live. You have, like, Frankie burning... But, yeah. He burns it. He burns Pluton. It's just insane that he burns the plans for... yeah. It's just... It all culminates. And I love it, too, because you have, like... It's like the first time you're really confronted with the world, like the Straw Hats, are confronted with the world government. Yeah. And are outclassed and what do? They don't back down. They're like, no, that is our friend. We are going against the world for our friend. Yes. And I'm like, this is it, guys. This is friendship. This is family. And it's just good. It's just so good. And you have like the antithesis. I mean, even Lucci's really good. Like, even though it's like, at first he's like, I want to murder, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
And it kind of still is. Guys, it's still really good. Like, and honestly, the fact that Lucci even continues to go after Luffy, like, so many times, to be like, oh, you're still standing, I guess I'll beat you some more.
Yeah.
Like, the man has, has a strong will compared to other opponents Luffy beat down. But I honestly just want to throw this out there. I love Kaku's giraffe.
Yeah, that was crazy.
When he goes in the box and Zoro's like, what are you doing? Like, this
also,
man.
when he first gets that devil fruit and he's like insistent, like, no, I
love giraffes.
I love giraffes. It's like, okay, sure.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Sure.
But like, man, it's just so good. Oh, the Mary. I love the Mary.
Oh, I forgot that happened.
I know. But then you get the Sunny, and then you get Garp. Like, there's so much in that saga.
Mm-hmm.
I can't not love it. And don't get me wrong, like, I love other great arcs. Like, Egghead, Marineford, those are great too, but, like, I feel like how so many details culminated in Eni's lobby, with even including Water 7, just, it kind of stole me away. Like, how, like, I get that there's so much happening in One Piece, but how massive and fantastical and, like, just well executed that was for how many things Oda was juggling.
Yeah.
Like, it was impressive. Like, I was like, are we really, like, this is Soge King happening right now at first?
Yeah.
But then you get used to it, and then you're like, the giraffe form, you're like, really, a box? But okay.
Mm-hmm.
It just gets better and better, honestly. Like, the goofiness just hits, y'all. It just does. Like,
it does.
Oh, I can't not think of those moments. Like, oh, it's a high stakes bet, but then he's a cube as a giraffe.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
And then you get, like, Lucci's fight against Luffy, where Luffy's actually kind of, like, struggling a bit.
Yes.
Towards the end of it.
And the fact that, it's Usopp who brings him back.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that. He's like, I will fight this cat monster. And then Lucci takes a step, and, like, Luffy is, like, there on the floor, bleeding to death. But then the Mary saves them. Sanji's moment is great, too, when he sneaks away to stop the doors. Like, clever. Clever. But anyway.
He does that a lot, and I love him for it.
Yeah. Pretends to give Sanji's better
Right.
than certain moments in post. But anyway, I digress. It's not a competition. But yeah,
because you get that, like, also, like, immediately after, like, Eni's lobby or it's still in Eni's
like
lobby,
post.
but, like,
yeah,
you get that moment where, like, Luffy and Usopp, like, reconcile.
Yes.
It's like, oh, okay.
Oh, and then the classic reveal from Garp, just picking his nose. Oh yeah, I heard you met your dad, Dragon.
Yeah.
Just no.
Oh my God,
just drops. And you're like, it's funny too, because this was set up in Lowtown, and you're like,
right, and you're like, that's who that was.
That's who Dragon was. Luffy's dad, the number one most wanted man in the world, the top revolution. Like that's and then Garp's like, oh, I guess I should have said that.
Guess I should have told you that earlier.
Whoops.
Whoopsies.
And it's just funny because it's also the first time you meet Garp.
Yeah,
I love Garp.
Yeah,
I just realized that actually.
It's the first time you, like, get more
a proper introduction, because if you don't follow the cover stories, I guess, and if you skip the Kobe Meppo adaptation,
that's true,
because it was one of the few cover stories they did adapt. But even then, I don't think Garp's in it as much as Bogart is, actually.
Yeah,
but
he's
anyway,
definitely not there a lot.
But like the proper introduction, because I don't really like the cover story is great, but I don't even know if they name drop him in the cover story. I think he's just a vice admiral.
Yeah, I know he's in it.
But Garp, the hero, Garp the Fist.
Right.
It's just great. But anyway, sorry, I know I'm gushing. But on the flip side, for favorite character, this is also probably cliche too, because who doesn't love this character? Law, I mean, I love him. He's great. Like, it's also funny to think, because he was one of the 11 or what was it, like 12 supernova, 13. How many supernovas? Was it 12, 11, 13?
12 sounds right.
12 sounds right to me, and then I think the worst generation adds Blackbeard to make 13.
Yeah.
Unlucky. Anyway, that's what I'm gonna go with, because I couldn't remember for a second. But anyway, so like Oda's just like, how do I make this more exciting? Let's just throw in like 11 new characters called the Supernovas, because otherwise Sabati's gonna be boring. And I'm like, okay. And then Boss becomes like so integral. Like, obviously this, Oda didn't plan everything from the get-go. He's not that genius. As seen when he just dumps new characters in. It was not planned. Because even the 7 Warlords weren't planned. Dofi was also not planned. But then he connects Doflamingo and Law to make such a beautiful story with Corazon.
Yeah.
That's so good. Guys.
Also, entire story is very
Law is just funny.
Yeah.
This man tries to deal with Luffy, and Luffy's like, oh, you're my friend now. It's just like, he's just so chill. And then he does his own thing, and Law is like, what are you doing? This is not the plan. And the fact that he hates bread just cracks me up. Like,
I forgot about that.
Like, weren't you starving? You sure you didn't want to eat bread? Just gonna put anyway.
Right.
But he also happens to have one of the coolest powers and one of like the best moments, I think. Well, not moments, motives obviously, he's still going for the One Piece. But the fact that he is one of the few people going for, like, knowledge, like, the fact that, I don't know, I just love that. Like, when he and Robin bond, he's, like, after Dressrosa, and he's, like, clearly trying to, like, figure out what the will of D is. Like, the fact that he confronts Sengoku about that. Man, I'm just so hyped for Law to, like, be like, okay, Straw Hats, do your thing. Yeah. Save the world. I'll be right there with you as an ally. And I'm like, yes, please accept. So anyway, I don't know. I can't, like, I could go on and on, but I just love Law. He's good. He's great.
They're also, as we've talked about before, like, devil fruits.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of them.
There's so many, and some are, like, wacky and completely useless. I'm looking at you, non-canon devil fruits in the movies. Those are weird. Weirder than weird.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, but even, like, in-world canon devil fruits, some of them are, like, like, okay. Let's take, for example, I think one of my least favorite is probably kids. Not because it's not useful, it's just, like,
I forget.
Why would you want it?
Is this a devil fruit?
I don't remember what the name of the fruit is, but it's basically just magnetism.
Oh,
I'm like, that's
like
cool,
whatever.
but can't you just go buy a magnet? Obviously, this is me from a modern world where magnets exist, but still.
I think that, like, talking about favorites again, I think...
Yes.
Sentimental... Well, honestly, the fruit itself is cool, too, but I think, like, the sentimentality of the Mara no Mi, aka the Flame fruit, with Ace, I'm like, yeah, I love that one a lot. But I think in terms of, like... The one I would want to have would be Robin's. The
Hana no Mi?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, man. Flowers... See, it's funny, because that's actually one of the few where its name does not seem like it makes sense at all. Because it's like flower, but you're sprouting flowers but you're really just your body parts.
Right.
It's just funny. It's like... I feel like... Not that Oda dug himself in, like, a box, but as soon as he started, like, giving categories, like, you know, Logia's, Zoan, sorry. I was going to say Zonai, and I was like, Zelda mind brain right now, guys. Zoan, and then Paramecia. Paramecia is obviously the funnest.
Yeah.
Because it's just so, it could be, it's a gamble. You could get the Hana no Mi. You could get the jacket fruit, guys. It's out there.
Yeah, you could get the giraffe one.
That's a Zoan, though.
But yeah.
No, I get what
you can get, like, wacky ones like that.
Yeah, or you get, like, the mythical Zoan. That'd be cool. Being a Buddha. Look at me, I'm a statue. Sorry, so Goku's is like, I don't know. I wish we saw more of his fruit. But, like, also, speaking of mythical Zoans.
Yeah.
Can we just agree that the one that's the OPest and the best is just, obviously, the Torito no Mi model Phoenix?
Yeah.
You know, you're a bird, so you can fly. You're a phoenix, so you regenerate. You have fire, because you're a phoenix. You heal, because you're a phoenix. It's literally all 3 in 1. Fire for Logia, literally impervious when he gets shot at.
Right.
Literally a bird. Literally healing powers in the flames, and also damage with flames. I'm like, why wouldn't you want this fruit? It's literally all 3 in 1. Like, what's the downside?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't swim, but I can fly over that water. It's like, there's no downside.
Yeah.
I actually question if he's even immortal. Obviously, he ages, but, like, could he, like, almost respawn and rebirth from the ashes?
Right.
I'm curious. Probably not.
I would think no, because that would kind of, like, ruin the whole thing with devil fruits.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But, honestly...
It would be cool.
It'd be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully we never see it.
It would make sense, like, with Phoenixes specifically, but it would, like...
And not to say I don't think it's wasted on Marco, but
we don't get enough of it.
We don't get enough of it. Like, he's in Wano a little, which you'll get to.
Yeah.
Which I think you already knew about, because literally Nekomamushi went to go be like, I'm getting Marco.
Yeah.
You saw him.
I knew he was in it. I just don't know, like,
so, like, that's not really much of a spoiler, but, like, we don't get him enough. Join the crew, man. Just... Come on, you're Ace's brother. Just join already.
Exactly.
Like, come on. You liked fighting by the Straw Hat side, right? Come on. Don't you want to join? Fight by us. Take over Wano, take down Kaido. Right. Anyway, get a little on myself. But honestly, surprisingly, as much as I love that one, and I did love it before this other one, it probably would have been the first one that popped in my mind for, like, when thinking of favorite. But the one I thought that popped in my mind first, which is probably one I'd want, is, this is where I'll get into spoilers now. But, so if you don't want to listen, A, what this fruit is, / B, who has it, / see when it pops up in the story, skip to whatever time is on screen now, which is probably not too long. It's the Wapu Wapu no Mi. It's Warp, and Van Augur has it. And I'm like, no! Why does he have it? He makes such good use of it, too. It's not fair. Like, obviously the Valkyrie crew are like, okay, this is clearly Oda writing, obviously. But, like, man, the fact that they find the devil fruits for the perfect crew member. Because remember, Van Augur's a sniper who has the best sight. Yeah. And you know what this fruit does? The only limit to where you warp, eyesight. This man
has that's that's upsetting.
It's so upsetting because it's like, no, I want Soul King to have the best sight.
Right.
Honestly, Usopp, you gotta clap this man. But anyway, it's like, I don't know, like, it's such a simple power. Other stories have it. Yet, at the same time, when I see it in action, I'm like, I'm jealous. I want that fruit.
I want this.
I think it's because in One Piece, distance and like how close you are is so integral. And also traveling. Traveling's great. If I could just see, oh, there's that cloud, let me warp there. Oh, there's that cloud, let me warp there. I could be like Dofi without the strings.
Yeah.
Which I will admit, Ito Nomi, he makes it OPAF. Like, I don't know how, like, he really mastered it.
But...
In a bad way. Like, anyone else who had it probably actually wouldn't be that masterful of it. But I digress. All that to say, we obviously could continue gushing and loving it, but those are like our faves, and honestly, like, hopefully you got something out of it, but we definitely just love gushing. I feel like if nothing else, watching us love it maybe inspires you to watch it too. We honestly didn't talk about that many spoilers anyway, so you could still reasonably watch it, even though we made faces and name dropped and stuff.
Yeah.
A little
we
spoiler
didn't reference specific events, so.
We did not. We referenced specific people.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, so that was it for this second part of the One Piece little mini series, I guess, if you want to call it that, this season of Seasonal Spiels. But again, I'm Quincy Lell.
And I'm Audrey Williams.
We'll go ahead and make sure to talk about, I think solo leveling will be next week. Come on, guys. We had to talk about it at some point, so stay tuned.